Welcome to Opinions in 10, online posts and biblical opinions in under 10 minutes. Starting now. Today's post comes from Irby Girl. She's an 18-year-old female. She says her parents disowned her and her only friend betrayed her. What do I even do now? I grew up in one of those super strict, very religious households where everything was sinful. No makeup, no sleepovers, no music outside of church. It was pretty crazy. When I turned 18, I finally left for college. I thought my parents would support me since I was trying to do something with my life, but instead they hated the idea since they said it's a degenerate environment. They completely cut me off for going. No support financially or generally. I made a confession post about how I've been trying to survive on my own. The one friend I trusted, she knew the story, exposed me to my parents. Next thing I know, my dad called me and was yelling at me for shaming the family. Long story short, I was just keeping guys company for some quick cash. Only dates though, nothing more. I called my friend after and completely lost it. I cut her off, and now I have no one. I'm just trying to balance everything in my life. I don't want to fix things with them. I know where we all stand now. But I don't just want to be alone. How do I even start to build a new life from scratch? I feel like I can't trust anyone or be open anymore. If you were in my shoes, how would you rebuild your life? Well, I don't mind saying that this post infuriates me, and I'm not even talking about the poster here when I say that. You see, the Word of God is spoken of as bringing life and peace and love. It's a light and a lamp. It points out sin and guides the way to righteousness. Is that what you experienced in your home growing up? Did you have the joy-filled, loving family that the Word of God gives? Or did it feel constricting, stressful, maybe like a prison? If you answered yes to any of these descriptions, then you did not have the Word of God in your home growing up. What you had in its place was something that the Word of God itself warns against. In Deuteronomy 4:2, Moses writes the following, "Do not add to what I command you, and do not subtract from it, but keep the commandments of the Lord your God that I give you." The reason is very simple. And a case study can be made out of what you said your parents are like, as well as many other cases where the parents are like this. The reason is this. The Word of God is life, peace, health, light, liberty, etc. But when you start adding more and more to it, that comes from people, it inevitably becomes a competition for superiority by keeping all of the added rules. They treat it like a game to be won, rather than a state of being. For example, the Bible speaks of a group called Pharisees, who began with noble intentions in that they didn't want to find themselves in a place where they were on the wrong side of God again. So they began to add what are known as hedge rules around what God said, with the intention that they would keep themselves from even coming close to disobeying a command. The problem is that they taught all of these things as though God commanded it, and it turned into a competition. For example, the Bible contains a handful of instructions about Sabbath. You are not to work. Nobody in your family is to work. You are not to schedule anyone to work. None of your animals are to work, and you are to get together with believing family and friends. 6 commands. The Pharisees had something like 1,500 added rules concerning Sabbath, and by the time of Jesus, it was a huge burden, not to mention a huge competition. Don't pick a piece of grain. Don't open a nut. Don't rub wheat in your hands. Only walk so far on the Sabbath, etc. And when Jesus spoke of this whole mess, He described exactly what you described. Talking about the Pharisees, he said they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen by men. Speaking of himself, he says, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light." Paul and Timothy write in Colossians chapter 2 and strongly warn against people bringing in things to add to what God commanded. They teach to not let anybody judge you based on the new rules these people added, because the things that God commanded are part of the world to come, and their substance and meaning is the Messiah. Adding to these things is how we come up with craziness like never wearing makeup, never listening to music, and never having friends over. Another commandment of Moses, repeated 3 times, is to not boil a calf in its mother's milk. It may not seem like it makes any sense to this, but the verse is meant to teach that things that are meant for nurture are never to be used for harm. It applies here because the Word of God is meant to be nurturing and to give life and peace. But now, the very thing that is meant to be nurturing to you is seen by you in a negative light because it's been used as a bludgeon. That's how you end up in a place where you're selling fantasies of yourself to men as you are. As far as getting to a better place, this is difficult. More and more people are outsourcing the human experience to AI, in a sense doing the same thing that you are doing, in that it is selling a fantasy of itself to people. When I go just about anywhere anymore, I see entire groups of people just sitting at a table staring down at their phones, and they don't ever talk to each other the entire time that they are there. And I think this has been going on for so long that people have lost much of their ability to communicate with others. My advice would be to find a church community to be involved in. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Don't find a place to sit and listen to a sermon for 30 minutes a week. That's not a church. And many people, including myself, don't connect with sermons at all. You can get that on YouTube, as every preacher in the West has a YouTube channel to preach to. I'm talking about a community of believers. People interested in being involved in each other's lives and genuinely care for each other. When I was young, this was just the expected thing when you joined a church, but it's becoming very difficult to find now. If nobody is interested in making a connection with you, go somewhere else. It's worth the search. But hang in there. If you're genuinely seeking a believing community to which you feel like you belong, you'll find it. Keep searching. That'll be all for this week. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe. God bless.